Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Oh. Um, do you guys like to read comic books?
Of course.
Yes.
I love it.
Love it?
Yes.
Um, I believe many people like to read comic books. And today I'd like to summarize many effects of comic books. How do they affect on our lives? First one is the effect for our brain. First, I think comic books makes us creative. Even though if we see pictures, even though we don't see words, we can imagine what happened or what the characters are thinking. We can guess or we can feel and we can think why this character did that or how this character is thinking of. So we can imagine our ability of creativity or imagination will develop thanks to comic books. And so we read comic books and then we can understand, we'll be able to understand other people's thinking. It's useful for communication. So, you know EQ? It's not IQ, it's emotional. I think comic books is so really helpful to improve our EQ. Means our personality or our emotional thinking will improve because of comic books. We usually think, for example, a junior high school student or high school student, some people say, oh, you should study, no, comic books. But actually, it's worth reading because our personality will be better, not only just studying or just knowledge. Then, the next thing is effect for children. Sounds peaceful. Comic books gives children interest, or it can be a textbook of their life. What I mean is, for example, if you read a sport comic books like that, this is a soccer, Japanese soccer comic book. Maybe some of them know that comic book. Actually, this comic book helped. This comic book caused made Japanese people like or love soccer, and Japanese soccer league would more popular than before. And children read this comic book and they were interested in soccer and they studied the soccer, and I believe many soccer players, Japanese, especially Japanese, they were inspired from this, or motivated by these kind of sport comic books. Or we have like baseball or basketball comic books, Slam Dunk, maybe some of them, It's so famous comic books, and children can be interested in that kind of sport by reading comic books, and they can do what they like for the whole life. And or sometimes children feel depressed or disappointed or feel sad. Then, when they read comic books, some situations are similar to their situation. I mean, comic books. So, if they read the comic books, and this situation is similar to my current situation. And then, in the comic book, the main character did this, that action, and he could overcome that difficulty. So it might be helpful for us. Actually, in my experience, do you know that One Piece? I believe it's so famous in the world. I love One Piece, and the main character is so optimistic and has strong mind. And when I was in high school, I felt depressed or, oh my goodness, what's a terrible situation, and I couldn't tell my real feeling to nobody, but I read comic book, and of course, that kind of comic books usually have difficulty and they overcome the situation, and they can win or they can succeed a certain thing. So I felt, oh, I'm the same situation. I have something difficult, but if I think something negatively, I'll be worse. So I learned something about how to deal the difficulties from the comic books. So, of course, you should choose proper books. I mean, some comic books are just something we can't understand or just disgusting or.
Oh, Jenny. Sorry, that's okay.
But if you choose that kind of comic books, especially for children or maybe young people, you can learn many things from comic books about life or how to deal with these problems or that kind of something we have often, frequently. Then, the last one is studying, effect for studying or learning. It might be not popular, but some Japanese know that this animation is about cooking, and of course in the comic books there are lots of recipe of food or some professional knowledge about comic books about food or cooking. So we can enjoy reading comic books, and then we can learn about something about professional thing. And we have not only about cooking, something about maybe doctor, or actually when I was in elementary school, I read historical comic books about history, and I could enjoy reading because it was interesting and I could learn, but I didn't feel I was studying. I was just enjoying